The last argument you had with your spouse, husband, wife, partner, whoever, your initial thought is to think it was maybe about the dishes or the bills or the tone that somebody used or the thing they said that was in front of your friends that embarrassed you. It was none of those things. I wanted to persuade you, or maybe influence you, to adopt a new belief that you were re-litigating something that happened 10, 15, 45 years ago. And the part that kind of bothered me a little bit about this is that neither person knows that. Neither person understands or is aware that that's happening. So what do? You both stand there in that kitchen, you're swearing that it was about the present moment. I think both wrong about it. You were arguing with a ghost that wasn't in the room. So I want to show you those ghosts, and I think this is going to be hopefully profound. That was the goal anyway for me taking these notes down. Most people think that our reactions are responses to what's happening right now. Somebody says something, you feel something, we process it, and the feeling matches the event. And it's logical, it makes total sense. That's not how your nervous system works at all, in any way. Your emotion, the things that trigger your emotions are not about the present moment. They are pattern matching shortcuts. Your brain is running on a database, just like ChatGPT. And that database was written when you were little, when you were young, before you had gone through puberty, before you had defenses, and you had any possible way to file away what was happening to you. So every time something in the present rhymes with something in that database, guess what file opens? The present moment argue file or the old file from back then? It's the old file. I want you to really tune your ears into this really quick. Your brain does not distinguish between an offense that happened today and a wound that happened in 1989. It's the exact same brain pathways, same chemistry. And as far as your nervous system is concerned in your life, it's not happening again. So take that word out. Maybe write again and then cross it out. It's not happening again. It's just happening. There's no again. There's no timestamp on a trigger in your nervous system, period. So the body doesn't have a calendar inside of it. So when your partner says something dismissive and you feel the floor drop out, you get pissed off, it's not coming from your partner. It's coming from the person who made you feel like you didn't matter a long time ago. Your partner just dialed that number and reached that thing, and then somebody else picked up the phone. So there's a way to catch this that's kind of cool. And most people will go all the way to the grave and never really catch this one. There's one signal, and I think that once I give this to you, you're going to start seeing it all over the place, in yourself and your spouse and your kids. This is the signal. The signal is when the size of the reaction doesn't match the size of the event. That's it. That's all you need to look for. So when the response is disproportionate to what actually happened, somebody forgets to text you back and you spiral. Somebody's tone of voice makes you super pissed off. Some little small criticism like levels your ass for like 3 days. You have to call into work. The distance between what happened and how you felt is a map of sorts. That little gap between those things is pointing. It's a giant arrow pointing towards some original wound. So it's a small event, probably. There's massive reaction, and that difference cannot be explained by the present moment. It's coming from that old file. So I work with a lot of people. I coach a lot of people one-on-one, and these are politicians and CEOs and all these kind of people, and they all have the same problems that you do. They're not perfect. They have diarrhea, just like you do. Everything that you think you've got and nobody else has got, they've all got it. The moment that you stop trusting the reactions that fit, you start watching the reactions that are too big. I want you just to focus on that word of too big. And let me run one all the way down to the floor, because I want you to see the actual mechanics, the machinery of all this here. Look, I know you don't want to watch another ad. I don't blame you, but I have seen this change too many lives to just let you scroll past it. There's a moment that most people have where something feels off in a conversation and we ignore it. And it's not because you're wrong, but it's just because we don't trust what we're seeing. And that's where all of this starts. NCI Level 1 isn't about learning a bunch of tricks. It's about finally understanding what you've been noticing your whole life already. You start to see behavior a lot more clearly. The body language, the emotional shifts, the intent that's behind someone's actions. So you don't guess anymore. You read what's going on. You understand what's going on. And you can actually respond with precision. Most people ignore what they see. This is where you learn to trust it. NCI 1 is a foundational course in behavior profiling, and the link is right down in the description. Let's take a married couple, Donnie and Diana. The wife comes home, she's tired. She walks past her husband and says, "Did you even do anything today?" It's mild, and on the scale of like marital crime, it barely registers, right? But watch the husband. Tightens his face a little bit, his chest gets warm. Something behind his eyes is kind of like shutting off. And within about an hour, maybe I'd just say within 4 seconds, he's furious.
I can't take this anymore.
Over one sentence.
You need to listen to me. No, you listen.
Hit the pause button right there. Hey, hold on. Why are you angry? He's going to tell you about the dish in the sink, the comment, the disrespect, this little Judge Judy legal case about the present moment. And every word of that is just cover story. So he doesn't know that it's a cover story. He believes it. That's what makes it work. So if you start peeling that off a little bit, you get to layer 1. The present. You think I do nothing around here. Okay, why does that land so hard? Plenty of people would just say, actually, I did a stuff today, and then move on. But why can't he move on? Now we get to layer 2. It's the pattern. People look at me and they see somebody who isn't enough, who isn't producing, who's just coasting through life. And it was carved a whole long time ago. And we get down to layer 3, the installation. He's 8 years old. Report cards sitting out on the kitchen table. His dad looks down at the report card, looks back at him, and says nothing. Just a flat, disappointed look at his son, and then walks out of the room. That little tiny boy, he learns a rule that's going to run his entire life. And right now, I am producing nothing. The people who love me, they're leaving me. I am only worth what I produce. The file gets saved. So when his wife says, "Did you even do anything today?" She just read that exact line that's in that file. She just brought this 8-year-old kid into the room. And the grown man's nervous system doesn't have a calendar. There's no happening again, it's just happening. And he's not fighting with his wife, he's fighting with his dad. Old code, new hardware. That's kind of what it is. You probably did this today. Every oversized reaction that you've had this week, the email that pissed you off for an entire afternoon, the way your kid talked back to you, every one of those was an adult getting hijacked by a file that you wrote when you were like 8. The person in front of you almost never deserves the size of what they're getting. So they tripped a wire that they didn't install and they can't see at all. And you're punishing them for a sentence that somebody else said 40 years ago. I want you to just try this on if you want to. That's not their problem to carry, it's my problem to find. So here's what I really want you to do. And I want you to do this the next time it happens. The next time a reaction rises up that's bigger than the thing that happened, you say, when was the first time I ever felt like this? Not similar, like almost an exact feeling. Whatever shows up first, that's probably the source. And you don't have to like do a big deep dive and sit and meditate for 5 days and go on a silent retreat. Whatever shows up first is probably the thing. You do not get to choose the file that got written. You were a kid back then, but you are not a child anymore. And the moment you can see the old code running, you can kind of like catch it while it comes up. You finally get to decide whether to start running it. And I think most people never get to choose. There's something that people never get told very directly. And I say this with no conspiratorial tone. It's just that the systems around you, people say, oh, the news is broken. The media is broken. Social media is broken. None of them are broken. They're working precisely as they're supposed to work. They're just not designed for you. They're built for someone else to benefit from it. And if you think about this mechanically for 1 second, the companies that have your attention make money when you keep scrolling. So the smartest people on earth, probably, are paid loads of money to keep you exactly where you are and to keep you from growing. And there's no conspiracy there. It's just a business model. And it's the same with food, the news, most of it. You have a government that gave you the effing food pyramid. Incentives don't point at your growth. They never have. They point at your attention and your comfort. But I want to tell you that that's actually good news. If you slow down on that, because nothing about any of that is personal. And if it's not personal, it's not permanent. It's just a little current, like weather. But most people never see it. And the whole reason that this thing exists, NCI, I want to hand you the tools to step out of that current, out of that whatever we want to call it. The authority, the influence. I want to give people the ability to actually read the person in front of you. And then to kind of let that change how you show up for every single person that you love and that you care for, that you lead. And I always say we rise by lifting others. And I mean that all the way down every cell in my entire body.